Hey, what's going on, guys? Thanks for joining me today. I'm Mark. This is Spiguyver Backpacking. And today I'm out here to do a new series, a new thing that I wanted to do, and it's something called Storytime with Spiguyver. And so I thought this was something we could do a little bit more regularly and just talk about things, talk about some stories, maybe scariest time out on the trail or a story I'll never forget from a trail. But tonight what we're going to talk about is, how did I get my trail name? I get the question quite a bit. People ask, where did Spiguyver come from, all the time. And I've said it in a few of the videos in the past, but I've never dedicated a video just to telling you guys how I got it. So that's what we're going to do tonight. It'll be a quick video. We'll just go through this and we'll get into it. So let's go. I've got clothes laying all over out here. Going backpacking this weekend. Rainman and I are going out. We're going to finish up the OT, the Ouachita Trail. We've got about 20-ish miles left, and then at the end of it, it finishes up at Pinnacle Mountain State Park in Arkansas, just a little bit, I think, south of Little Rock. So we're going to go climb that. Not a huge mountain, but it's a mountain, and from what I understand, it's a pretty cool place to go. So we're going to climb that, finish up, and head back and get a weekend out of it. So it'll be a lot of fun. But I've got my clothes out here because I laid them all out, sprayed them down with permethrin, did that treatment. You guys have seen that before. I've got another video on how to do that. If you guys are interested, go check it out. I'll leave a description, or I'll leave it down in the description, a link to it, so you guys can go check that out, see how I treat my clothes so that I don't get ticks all over me, which I'm actually dealing with right now. You guys have seen a couple of videos where I've had tick problems. I seem to be a tick magnet, especially around here, the damn seed ticks. So, all right, that's not what we're talking about tonight. Tonight is all about the trail name, Spiguyver. So how did I get it? Well, really, it's a two-part story. So it started out with Spider, which came from a fraternity I was in when I was just going to college. It was right about the time that Dazed and Confused came out. And so when I got my name, I thought it was because of all the climbing and stuff I was doing all over the place. Me and a couple of the guys would go to the climbing gym quite a bit. I got pretty into rock climbing at that time. And so I thought that's really what it related to. Well, it turns out that the guy that actually gave me the name misheard Slater from Dazed and Confused, misheard the name Slater, thought it was Spider, and thought I reminded him of that guy. So that's how that name came to be, Spider. Anyway, so Spider kind of stayed with me for quite a while, and in good part because I did climb so much, it did stick with me. And I think that that's what people associated with it, was the fact that I climbed. But that wasn't it. Fast forward to, many years later, diabetes has affected my family in many ways, and now my wife is a type 1 diabetic, and so my grandmother, my aunt, a bunch of other people in my family have diabetes. My grandmother was on dialysis, and it just impacted my family to the point where I wanted to do something, try and make an impact. And so my buddy Jeremy, Sherpa Man, you guys saw him on, he's been on a couple of videos, a couple of trips, but the big one would be the Adirondacks trip. The very first YouTube video that I did was Mike, Beekeeper, and Sherpa Man, Jeremy. But Jeremy and I put together what we called Hike for Hope. It was 110 miles along the AT. It was through the Shenandoah section of the AT to raise money and awareness for diabetes research. And during that trip, we were at a shelter. We were just doing shelter to shelter. We weren't, that's really what we were doing, was just aiming for shelter to shelter. We did camp out a couple of nights at the shelters, but primarily we were staying in shelters. And there was a group, I don't remember all their names, but there was a group that was at one of the shelters, and while we were there, we were trying to get I had a pocket rocket, the original pocket rocket, and the fuel canister that I had, the nipple didn't come up far enough, so it was recessed a little too much. And so when you screwed on the pocket rocket, it didn't actually make contact. The pin in the pocket rocket didn't make contact with the actual receptacle, and so no gas was coming out, no gas was flowing. And so I was messing with it, ended up shoving some things into the hole, getting the gas to flow, putting it together, and I went behind the shelter and cooked dinner back there, so that if it was to blow, if something was to happen because of the way that I had put it together, I wasn't going to hurt anyone except probably myself. But got done with it, and the next day, we actually were with that group for I think 2 or 3 days while we were out there. And so at one point they called me MacGyver. You know, you guys know MacGyver, the guy that, you know, gets into a jam and has a toothpick, a paper clip, and a bubblegum wrapper, and can get himself out of jail or out of a North Korean prison or something like that. So so they kind of started calling me that, and I believe it was Sherpa Man just kind of put the two together, put Spider and MacGyver together, and came up with Spiguyver. And since then, that's what it's been. Others along the way, every time someone has tried to give me a trail name, it's been on the Appalachian Trail, but none of them have stuck. You know, the original one, the first one I got, I think it's the most fitting. It's the one that's definitely going to stay with me, and is the one that I've come to embrace. Spiguyver Backpacking, you know. All right, guys, hope you guys enjoyed that. And if you have an idea for story time, you know, something like, you know, scariest time on the trail, or hardest hike I've ever done, or I don't know, weirdest person I've ever met, and I do have some stories there. And I'd have to narrow that one down, figure it out. But if you've got any ideas for story time, let me know. Leave them in the comment section down below, and we'll just keep this thing rolling. All right, guys, see you down the trail.